Welcome back. Before we continue the discussion, we have a video that shows the reactions of Kenyans to this bill. So we wanted to take a look at this.
When a man seeks to get married to a second or a third wife, they do not seek the consent of the first wife. You take a few wazee, take them to where you decide to bring the wife from, and the next day you come with the wife. And that is our culture, those are our customs, which we cannot run away from.
The marriage bill is right, I support it, because if you want to marry a second wife, I don't think you need the consent from your wife to get married. As long as you can afford to pay for her bills, for her maintenance, for her upkeep, I think there's no problem with marrying a second wife.
That aspect of men going ahead and marrying without consenting their wives, I think it's not right. It brings controversy, especially where issues about property will come in.
Let them not even ask permission. They will not get it. They will not get it. Because we are living in a modern world. They are bringing some traditions to the modern world. And it is not possible for a woman to accept another woman in a marriage.
It promotes bad behavior in the society.
Welcome back. From what we could see from that video, we have divergent opinions and they seem to be pretty equal. But women activists say that the bill is a throwback to old days, which is something the Honorable mentioned earlier. You know, those days when gender equality meant very little. They say polygamy destabilizes spousal relations. They also say particularly when it happens without consultation. Now, I want to address this question to Honorable. You mentioned something about going back to the dark ages, and that's what this bill is going to do. So are you trying to say this is a step back in the fight for gender equality?
I want to say that we shall go back to the dark days, remembering that in 1979 in Kenya, the same parliament argued about this bill. And I was reading an article where the former president of Kenya said, this bill is not good at this time. That is 1979. I was hardly 4 years old. And they say, this bill will better be passed by the future parliament. Today is the 11th parliament, which is still arguing ignorantly, like to the parliament of 1979. So really, this is a step back. And my argument, and most female members and even women on the street, is that the male members want to bring this argument like they are facing a woman in Nairobi. I want to say on this TV that women in Kenya have not been empowered to a capacity where they can make a decision of which marriage they should go to.
Okay. Because
many men say that you have Christian marriage, you have Hindu, you have civil, so you can choose. But that is a pure white lie. There is no woman, even me at my capacity in Kenya, who has really gone to that level to decide that I'll go for this marriage without the man's consent.
All right,
so what we say is this is customary marriage and a wrong one. It is a backdoor step where men want to bring traditions which are not real traditions.
But one thing I want to understand, Honorable, sorry to cut you there, yeah? But one thing I want to understand is why the amendment, when the bill was initially proposed by Samuel Chepkonga, the bill had the clause that says that the consent of the wife should be recognized. Why was that dropped?
It was deleted because we have few women in Kenya. That's still another gender imparity. This is still the problem in Kenya and many African countries where we are not able to elect many women in parliament. So even if 67 women were present in parliament, 279 men could still have taken the day. So this clause was deleted and it was defeated. And the argument that we are putting across to our men is that women in Kenya have not gone to that level to choose what marriage they want. Okay. So in other words, men are going to subject women in Kenya to customary marriage so that they have the leeway of bringing a second and a third wife.
All right.
Which is not fair, and that the Bill of Rights, the human right, is infringed.
Okay. Moses, earlier you wanted to address a question from our online community to Tunji. So can we hear that question now.
Exactly. You know, earlier on, Mr. Tunji made a comment, and we have a lady, Taylor, and she says that you say that one should not legislate on your emotions, but whatever happens to the emotions of the woman? So, Mr. Tunji,
Exactly.
would you please answer that?
The emotion of the woman, the wife at home or the one that is coming in?
The one at home.
Okay, the one at home. Well, you know, life is all about choices. I said it earlier that if once a man cannot stand a woman saying, okay, be my second husband, then if a woman has decided to be the second wife of a man, that's a woman's choice. And so everybody has a choice to make. The one at home,
woman at home.
she has a choice. She has a choice.
So she has a choice to do what?
Women
She has a
don't
choice
have
to do what?
She has a choice to do what?
Well,
to stay.
To divorce.
She has a choice.
divorce.
That's the say. You are saying something that you have a right to have who you have sex with.
Yeah.
So you have a one partner.
Reproductive
I'm not
right.
a lawyer.
Reproductive right.
Yes,
It's
reproductive
a
right.
third generation right.
Okay, but I know.
In evolution.
I know that in law you said where somebody's right stops is where another one once begins. If you have that right, I have the right to change my sex partner.
Then you must be ready to divorce.
Whichever way. So if that's your right, I also have the right to choose.
You must be ready to
And
say,
when you
okay,
say-
I want to break this marriage. I'm going to another man. That's a different thing.
So that's what I'm saying.
That is
No, the
what they are saying.
Tunji, the
That
argument
your
is,
argument is, if you want to take up another one, you must be ready to say, okay, I am done. I am done with
I do
this
not
relationship.
think the parliament in Kenya, the men are saying the one at home
Because-
must stay. Are they putting that in the constitution? They are not putting it. They are not saying you must stay.
Okay.
They're not saying that.
I want
Can
honorable
I
to. I want
ask
honorable
Mr.
to
Tunji-
answer this.
Mr. Tunji, a question there.
Okay, Moses. Then I'll go to honorable.
Mr. Tunji, don't you think that this bill, in a way, undermines the general image and the right of the woman? Now, take for example, now a man doesn't want to seek the consent of his wife to take, of his previous wife to take a new wife. Now, let me ask you this. If tomorrow your wife, I believe you're married, if tomorrow your wife comes up to you and says that she would like to take in another husband, how would you react to that, Mr. Tunji?
That's a very simple thing. I have a choice. Is that to stay as a second husband or move away?
So your point
very
here is
simple
your point here
issue.
is the law, the bill is not taken away. Okay, wait, Tunji, your point here is you're trying to say that the bill is not taking away the choice of the woman.
It's not taking
But
away
honorable,
choice.
earlier when honorable was talking, she made a point that women are not empowered enough to make that choice, because if they leave the man, what happens to them? Honorable, I want honorable to address that question. So Tunji here is saying you have a choice. If you do not want to stay in a home as the first wife to a second wife, you can leave. But how feasible is that for the woman?
I want to say that that is still ignorant, and we are not going to advocate for a society where divorce are going to be on the rise, because society is fundamental to the country and the continent. And so it is our duty, not only leaders, but journalists and every person in your own capacity, to try to bring realistic, not theoretical issues, because saying that a woman can just leave, that's too cashew. Let's be a bit serious. Let's look at the family as a fundamental context of the African content. And I want to say that the issue of saying we are African is polygamous. That is what is going to pull the African content behind for very many years. Time has come that we have to say, yes, we are African, but we do the right thing. So what is the right thing? I want us to look at women in Africa, not only in Kenya, but from experience, Kenyan women contribute to over 50% of the economy in this country. This is through agriculture, through trade, through many other business activities. So which is that woman in Kenya or even in Nigeria who is going to sit in a family, work very hard, knowing another woman can automatically come to this family?
Okay, it's
This is
interesting,
going to kill the
honorable.
morale of
It's
women.
interesting that you brought up the point of looking at African women in general and not just women in Kenya. Because now in Namibia,
Yes.
the women are crying out against a proposal to make, another proposal to make wife swapping That's to legalize the culture of wife swapping and make it a law. So that simply means offering your wife to your friend who is a man. Now, let me. Let Barrister respond to this.
This is still crazy. This is still crazy, not in the context of godliness, and this is really not African if we look at it keenly. But back to my point, I was saying that women contribute over 50% of economy in most African countries. Through agriculture, through business, they educate children like in our country. So I'm looking at this issue holistically, not just for politics in parliament. Holistically in the manner that if a woman is married in that customary law and she's aware another woman can come, this woman will sit down, she will not work very hard, she will not educate the children, and so we are going to pull back our same very continent that we claim we are African. So yes, we are African, but we must do the right thing.
Okay, Barrister, I wanted to respond to this quickly, bearing in mind that Kenya is not the only country that seems to be, talking about passing a bill that really focuses on the woman's rights in her marriage.
It's unfortunate that Africa is a male-dominated society, not just Kenya, even here in Nigeria. And these issues have continued to come up on a daily basis. And like she rightly said, talking of the worth of women in the home, you cannot undermine it. Women contribute to about 60% of the economy in homes. But unfortunately, women are not educationally empowered. They don't even know their rights, the rights that are available to them. And this is not unconnected with the African culture that we try as much as possible to get. Now, I see Tunji notes, he said, but I know that most of these African cultural practices are illegal. They are, yes, they are illegal.
Let me ask you, 40, 50 years ago,
yes,
when polygamy illegal, is...
and they are unfair to women for example, in my country, in the part of Nigeria, women cannot inherit their father's property. And you still want to continue with that in this generation? Now, this is part of the culture. And there are so many other cultural practices that are repugnant to natural justice.
Okay, quickly.
And equity.
Quickly,
Tunji.
Do you agree now? Do you agree that
Tunji,
today...
quickly make your point
do you
to
agree
what
that
the parents are
today,
saying.
the rate of divorce is higher than what it was 50 years ago?
Now, what you
no,
are
do you
now
agree?
advocating?
Do you agree that today, that we marry one man, one wife, the rate of divorce is very, very high from statistics? This is real. Do you agree it's higher than
I will answer your question. Now you are also...
No, is either a yes or no answer.
No, you also advocate. No, you also advocate. Now this bill will further increase rate of...
It will no.
It will.
See, the only thing the women are protecting...
No, it will.
It's just that... It's just the man. They want the man only to themselves.
We will continue after the break. But right now, let's go on a short break.
They are
and when we
afraid of
come
sharing.
back,
They just want the man only to themselves.